Hey everyone, we're here today with Robin Smith. I've known her for about 5 years now. She owns and runs KRRAK CrossFit and is probably the hardest working out female I've ever seen in my life.
Thank you.
And I just want to have a great conversation with her about how fitness matters, not just to you, but to anybody. What got you into CrossFit? What got you into owning a CrossFit gym? Just kind of tell us the beginning stories of your family and then how you got into the fitness industry.
Perfect. Okay, I love this topic. So, it started out for me with gymnastics as a kid. Like that was my first fitness experience because I went to Decatur Christian School. At that time, there was no sports for girls. So my parents kept me active by putting me into gymnastics and into ballet. Ballet didn't work out so well because I was hanging from the dance bar, and I broke it. So I got kicked out of ballet. But I loved the tumbling and I loved the gymnastics. And so that was what I did growing up. And then as I got older and that kind of took a back burner, then fast forward through life a little bit and had kids, big family. And I didn't work out. I have 8 kids.
Yeah.
So with the big family, like I didn't work out at all for the longest time. I was never a sedentary kind of person, but I was not into fitness at all. And then my husband was very much into fitness, a top athlete at his high school in multiple sports. And so he had already formed a habit of regular gym routine, always being into the gym, always having that as just part of his lifestyle. And he would talk about it a lot because anytime we would have like a financial situation or anything like that, he would be like, I will stop the gym if that's something that you want me to do. And I said, no, I don't, because I can see the mental health benefits that it gives you. I can see that you're such a better spouse and such a better parent because you have that outlet to go to. So that's one thing I don't ever want you to sacrifice. I feel like it's that important.
Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit because I agree. I think that it's not only important for your marriage, but for your personal well-being, being a parent, and I mean, really all facets of your life. I mean, you're a better leader, a better person. I mean, all the people that I know that, I mean, they're active, some sort of exercising, whether it's in, just playing sports or working out. What do you think that difference is to make for somebody? What gets them to click? I mean, obviously, I think having a spouse is helpful.
Oh, definitely.
To get you motivated.
Definitely. Yeah.
But I mean, as you see new people try CrossFit and stuff like that, why do they even give it a try? What is their motivation, do you think, other than I want to feel better or look better? Do you think they have, is it outside people motivating them, or is it just...
I do think that there's something about the community part of CrossFit that draws other people in, even people that may never have been interested in working out before, because then they realize that maybe their neighbor or their coworker that was never an athlete, you wouldn't look at them and say, oh, they're an athlete, or like whatever. They come to CrossFit. They love the group fitness. They love the community. And the support that you get every day from everyone in the class that you go to. And so that part of things, they're like, wow, if my neighbor can do this or my coworker can do this, then maybe I could too, know?
I think from my personal experience watching your gym, you're part of the gym grow. It's been so much, you get one person and all of a sudden they bring their spouse, or they bring their neighbor, or they bring their girlfriend.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, you have 4 people from that one person.
Yes.
As opposed to, you just have I don't feel like you have a closed community.
Yeah.
I feel like it's always growing and changing.
Yes, it is always growing and changing. Definitely.
And I feel like a regular gym, speaking from the RTB side, it's not as much of it is a community thing. There's definitely, you got the 7 a.m.ers.
Yes.
They're kind of a community. You've got your 10 a.m., your 5 p.m., that type of community. But I feel like your CrossFit side is just so different because it's, for me, getting a friend to come just do a normal workout is harder than saying, hey, just come do this 30-minute, yeah, you're going to get your butt kicked, but we're going to do it together.
Yes.
Workout.
Yeah.
Do you see that too?
Oh, yeah, I totally agree. And I think that there's positives about both parts of it. I call it the bro side of the gym, and then the CrossFit side of the gym. There's a lot of things that are the same, like you get comfortable with the people you're surrounded by working out, and if they're working out hard, then you want to work out hard too.
Right.
And so that part of it's great, both sides. I think the thing with CrossFit is you're dying in these torturous workouts, and you're dying with your people.
Right.
And they kind of keep you going and they keep pushing you. And our community is so good about that. Like, I would say 99% of the people in all of our classes, they will stop their workout to cheer somebody else on and kind of encourage them to keep going if they see them struggling, or, sometimes it's just so hard to finish that last part and they're, or being the last person done, and they will stop and they will cheer that person on and just really encourage them to finish, or they'll finish with them. They'll do extra to finish with that person.
Right, and that's way different than the bro side. Even if you're working out with somebody, you're pushing each other, but it's never a group.
Yeah.
Rarely it's a group. It's always going to be usually just two people working out together.
Yeah.
And you have that pushing, which is great, but it's not like there could be 10 or 12 people in one of your workouts. What inspired, because your programming is different than traditional CrossFit.
Yes.
What inspires your programming? Because it is different, and it's not, you're just not pulling it off a website.
Right.
You're not just pulling it off of, which is what most CrossFit gyms do.
Yes.
No knock on them. Just yours is different. Yours is more tailored to, I think, what you think your members are looking for and what they're trying to achieve, as opposed to just.
So, in the beginning of CrossFit, and I feel like God has aligned so many things that have led to where I'm at now. In the very beginning, I saw starting up a CrossFit gym from scratch. And then also after that, I helped a friend of mine open and start her CrossFit. And back then, when CrossFit first came to this community, you could either pull the workouts off main site, or you could do your own programming, and that was the only options. And so it was more common then for people to do their own programming versus pulling it off a website. And that has really changed and evolved over the years, where people now pull it off websites. Affiliate owners have a lot on their plate, and they don't want to take the extra time to sit down and program each week. And that is something that I really do enjoy doing. And it's kind of old school CrossFit is what I'll call it.
Right. Well, I just think there's more value in that. In my opinion, if I were going to a CrossFit gym, I would want a more tailored program as opposed to just the website saying, here's what you do. And most likely you're doing that with, maybe 8 other CrossFit gyms in the county or whatever.
Yeah.
But your workouts, I did CrossFit for like a year or so at ML years ago. But, most of his, I think, were pulled off of the website. He did a mix, I feel like. He did a mix, and it was good. But I feel like yours are actually, like, tailored to your group.
Yeah, to my community.
Yeah, to your community. Because I can just see it. It's just different. They don't want to do certain things, but you mix it in slowly over weeks. Is that what you kind of go for? Like, this exercise is going to be beneficial to you, and I know you don't want to do a bunch of it in one day, but I'll slide it in.
Yes. And then also just giving everybody options so for some people, their mobility is just not in a good place for them to do certain movements. So I always make sure I give options of what they can do to give them a successful workout. And I am so blessed with a staff of coaches who follow that same lead, and they do that as well. And so they know how to work with each person in the mindset of, I'm going to give this person a successful workout. So nobody's going to walk in the door at our KRRAK CrossFit and be like, oh, I can't do that movement. I feel like I have to change it so much. I don't feel like I'm getting a good workout.
Right.
Or not a successful workout. So giving people a successful workout, whatever their abilities are or whatever they have that is preventing them from being able to do what the workout is, we're always going to have something for them to have a good, successful workout.
Yeah, and I think that's key. I mean, I really think tailoring to your beginners and your, your experts, or what would you call them?
Yeah.
You have to find that balance, but that's also why you tailor the weights, you tailor the movements and whatnot. So, I mean, I think it's just harder to find that now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Unless you're getting a personal trainer.
Yes. And that used to be CrossFit's main selling point was you're paying for this membership for a whole month and you get all these classes and you're basically getting personal training, but for way cheaper. And I feel like that's kind of changed too, where mine can still be like that because of the programming and some other places you might go in and feel like, oh, I don't know about this workout, and
right.
You leave disappointed. You did a 5-minute workout and you don't feel like you got anything from it.
Yeah. What keeps you wanting to keep that CrossFit affiliation as opposed to just it's Robin's, whatever. Yeah, whatever you call it, because you do tailor. I mean, you do create. I would say almost every workout, if not every single workout yourself.
Yeah.
So what makes you keep that affiliation?
It's honestly something that I've gone back and forth with, even from the beginning of opening up the affiliate. And I have some really good friends that have given me some of the best advice, and they have been so solid for me through every little thing that's changed or every little thing that's happened, that they give me such good advice and they help me think things out and talk things out. And that has been so helpful. But one of my friends that I was talking to said, okay, well, how many members do you think you will get if you don't affiliate versus if you do? What do you think will be the difference there? And will that amount that you pay for the affiliation be worth it as far as that goes? And being new and being kind of learning as I go type of thing,
right.
It was just oh man, I don't know what to do. And I thought at that time, yes, I would definitely get more members if I was an actual affiliated CrossFit gym. So at the time, I thought it was the better way to go. And I haven't felt the need to change that since then. So I continue to push forward and I continue to put one foot in front of the other with that. But I do see a lot of other CrossFit gyms dropping the affiliate, and I see different things happening. One of the first CrossFit gyms that was around in the Springfield area recently dropped their affiliate, and they've continued to have great success without it. And I get why. But it's just something that I feel like I haven't had to revisit that yet.
Gotcha.
So
something you think you'll ever revisit?
I honestly just kind of watch what's going on around with the other gyms.
Yeah.
And then I watch what's going on with CrossFit HQ, and I just feel not led to do that yet.
Yeah.
But it's something that's always an option.
Because it's important to certain members to have the affiliation,
It
right?
is.
I mean, is that maybe because
Yes.
you have to have that to get into certain competitions?
Yes.
Is that how that
So
works?
some of ours love the competing part of things, and in order for them to be able to compete the way that they want to, they have to be able to do some of their workouts in an affiliated gym with a certified judge and all those things. And so that definitely makes a difference for them. Otherwise, they'd have to travel somewhere else to go have that.
That makes sense. That was just a question I've always wanted to ask you, because I was just always thought, I mean, feel like you do probably 98% of it
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah.
And then 2% might be, you know, the CrossFit type stuff. But then, you know, I don't, you know, what you pay for, is it worth what you pay for? Considering most people come for your program, not really CrossFit itself. At least from my view, it looks like that.
Yes, I love your view. And I think that that's something I'm going to be constantly revisiting. It's never out of the question, do I really need that?
Mm-hmm.
You know, right now
it's not cheap.
It's not cheap at all. And they keep
affiliate.
raising the prices.
Right. And it's, I mean, Hill and I have owned RTB for 2 years, and obviously you've been in there the whole time. And owning a gym is just so different than any other business that I have been a part of, you know, coming from the restaurant background and everything. To bank on your one time a month payments, you know, from a member to carry you through a whole month is just so different than in the restaurants. I mean, we have sales daily.
Yes.
And everything. But, you know, for the gym and for your gym, we just get paid on average once a month, aside from your drop-ins type stuff. But it's just once a month, and you have to, like, carry that through. And, you know, after you pay everything, it's just, it's like, it's pretty slim. So that's why I'm like, well, I mean, I know you have to pay your coaches and all that stuff. You're always, if you have the opportunity, you're buying equipment to make things better for your members. Then on the flip side, you're also paying for an affiliation and all those dues. So it was just a question I always had, because I know how different it is, like the gym industry.
Yeah, it's definitely not for the faint of heart.
No. No. And you have to pay, you know, as our friend John Davis would say, you have to pay the tax. You have to look good.
Yes.
2, you have to keep up with working out hard, and nutrition's a big thing for you too.
Oh, love nutrition.
Just
love it.
Talk to me about nutrition.
Yeah.
What would you, people listening to this, what are some tips you would give them? Like, hey, you know, here's where I would start.
Like, starting with something that you can just maintain. A lot of people start off with impossible almost, and they're just setting themselves up for failure every time, because it's like this all or nothing mindset. And then with all the fad diets around, like, people are jumping on those, and none of those are sustainable for most people. Some people can really get on some of those and do well and succeed long term, but that's more rare than it is to actually have long-term success with something. So when you think about it, you have to think about the big, long marathon and not a sprint. But a lot of people want that instant, quick fix, and nutrition is not like that at all.
Right. Are there any of those fad diets you have tried that you actually thought were sustainable?
Oh, man,
you?
I have done it.
I mean,
I have done so many different things, and I've learned so much by doing so many different things. But I look back on some of the things I used to do, and I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Did I do that?
When I did 0 carbs for a month, I mean, I felt awful.
Awful.
I did not. I mean,
awful.
It just did not work for my body.
No.
Type at all, and how active I am.
Yeah.
But I know there are a lot of people that.
Yeah, you never stop. You need carbs.
Well, yeah. Well, I know, there are a lot of people that can do that, and they're completely fine, and it doesn't, and they lose a lot of weight, and it's great for them. And I'm just like,
Yeah, most people, it's just not sustainable or realistic. So when you think about the long term and what you want to see the long term look like, it changes everything versus I need to lose 5 pounds in 1 week.
Right. Well, and another thing that we have talked about in the past that I think a lot of people listening have probably not heard, because I never really dove into it, was calories.
Yes.
So, I mean, it's really pretty basic. And a lot of people don't get it right.
No.
Because conversations we've had, you know, people will be like, well, eating a donut's worse for you than eating this, this, and this. You're like, well, if you only ate one donut, actually, no, you will actually lose weight because it's less calories than you eating those other 5 things. I mean, just because those 5 things are healthier.
Yeah.
If you ate one donut in a day, it's less calories.
Yeah. Yeah. So calories definitely matter. And I had another friend of mine that's also a nutritionist say one time this statement of, if you want specific results with your nutrition, you have to, or with your weight loss goals or your body composition goals, you have to be specific with your nutrition. So yes, you have to weigh and measure your food. And yes, you have to see how many calories you're intaking. If you want those specific results, that's what you have to do. And I like it because it's like this, to me, it's like a puzzle or a science project. And there's so many different things you can do, whatever your goal is with your calorie intake. And so long term, it gives you that flexibility to do what you need to do for each, I'm going to call it season of your life. So when you're going through a more stressful time, it's probably not the best time to be in some huge calorie deficit or be chasing after a weight loss goal in that moment. Maybe it's better to maintain where you're at, give your body some extra calories, and then you're able to mentally and physically just tackle whatever is going on that's extra stressful in your life at that time.
Right.
And things like that. So you have the flexibility to be like, okay, I'm not going to worry about losing any weight right now. I'm going to stay at maintenance level with my calories. That gives me a little bit of extra. And then I'm not feeling as hungry or hangry or,
Right.
you know,
So
things like that.
what is, I mean, you did this for me a few months ago, which was helpful. And I did learn, I mean, Hill and I, for about 45-ish days, 30, 45 days, we counted our calories. I mean, weighed everything, measured everything, a few months ago. And now, I mean, I'm sure you've doing it for years.
Yeah.
You know roughly what 100 calories worth of broccoli looks like without even weighing it. You don't have to measure certain things anymore.
It teaches you
it just, I mean, yeah, it
so
was like
much.
eye-opening to me because I know how many calories are in the 3 eggs I eat every morning now. I don't need to keep track of that part anymore. Certain things.
Yeah.
It's like after weighing it or eating it for 30 straight days.
That is spot on what you're saying. And before I became a nutritionist, my nutritionist would talk about that, and she would say, I know. I'm like, I have to weigh and measure everything. Like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
That sounds terrible. And I wasn't saying those words out loud, but I think she could read it on my face. And she was like, it's going to be different this time. And doing it for 30 days teaches you so much. So in the beginning of tracking or counting those calories or weighing and measuring your food, it is so annoying. And it feels like another job almost. Like, this is time consuming. And I hate the time it's taking for me to just do this, to sit down and eat a meal. But if you take the time to do it for 30 days and you sacrifice that time to do it, then you could go out to eat and your best guess is going to be so close. Mm-hmm. Versus beforehand, most people are way off when they try to guess. Way off.
Oh, yeah. No, I had zero clue how much better, whenever I was trying to be in a calorie deficit, eating just egg whites versus an egg.
Yeah.
The calorie difference.
Yeah.
And how, I can have so much more just cooked egg whites than I can eggs.
Yes.
Because of the calorie difference between the two.
Yeah.
And when you actually start to measure that out for the first time, you're like, wow, this is...
Yeah.
I had no clue that it was so much different.
It's so eye-opening.
Yeah. So
what teaches you so much.
What would you... Somebody that, they're starting out... Because, you gave me some good advice whenever I was like, hey, I'm wanting to lose some weight just to, thin out, but I don't want to lose my muscle. I had to work so hard and long for that. And you gave me the advice of not doing a girl diet.
Yes, I did say that.
What would you say is a good starting point, like what you gave me, for the average person that wants to just start losing a little bit of weight, but like you said, keeping it reasonable, not trying to go crazy and I'm going to do 1,000 calories a day as a when you're used to eating 3,500.
Yes. So your best guess of what you would weigh if you had zero fat on your body. Everybody could probably think about that and come up with a good guess, a good starting point. So most people can be within such a good range of that. And
you
that
can use me as an example.
Okay.
I want to weigh 200.
Yes. Okay, so if you had to guess what your body would weigh if you had zero fat on it, what would you guess?
Probably closer to 175, 180.
Perfect.
At 6
love that.
foot,
I love that. So, like, I would say 185 is the grams of protein you need to make sure you're getting every day,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And that's the same with guys and girls. Whatever you think your body would be with 0 body fat, you need that many grams in protein every day. And that is the perfect starting point.
And then from there, how many calories? I mean, because calories wise, obviously, is where you're.
Yeah, and that's where it's
dictating
gonna.
that.
Yeah, that's where it's gonna be different for everybody because everybody's activity levels are different. Everybody's workouts are different. Everybody's genetics are different too. Yeah. And so that's where that is going to be a really personalized number as far as how many calories go. But a lot of people have a good idea because of smartwatches and things like that about how many calories they burn in a day. So I don't typically recommend that anybody go in a huge deficit to lose weight. Like you would want to lose a pound a week on average and not much more than that, because then that's just kind of like hard on your body.
Right.
So
yeah, for me, you said, hey, start with 2,800 calories. I think is what you said. I don't know why you came up with 2,800 calories for me. You said start with 2,800.
You were hard too, because you were like nonstop. You go all the time,
right?
And that burns so many calories.
Right.
So I was almost scared to give you a number.
But then you said if you don't lose a pound after a week, go to 27. And just. That was helpful. Like just thinking about it, just go down 100 calories a week until you start to see the weight come off. Then just stay there for a little while.
Yes.
And then you might have to go down another 100 after a few more weeks.
And it's something a lot of people don't want to take the time to do.
Yeah.
You know, but if you do take the time to do that, it leads you to success.
Yeah.
So.
No, it was. Yeah, I mean, it worked for me. And the counting thing, as hard as it was,
and annoying,
time-consuming, and annoying, and you almost don't want to go out to eat,
you don't.
Which was a plus.
Yeah,
I was like,
it organically makes you just eat healthier, because then you also know too, like, okay, I don't want to go out to eat because it's really hard to figure my stuff up if I go out to eat, or I don't want to eat this donut because I'm going to be hungry again 10 minutes later.
Right.
Versus if I eat this healthier meal, then I'm going to be a little more satisfied because it's more food.
Yeah. But, I mean, like, for me, I'm big, 1 or 2 cheat meals a week. Do you let yourself have
So
some?
I used to think of cheat meals previously, and now I just fit whatever I want into my day. So, for instance, I love crumble cookie. Everybody knows that about me. That is my favorite. And so I leave room in my day to have a serving of crumble cookie every day. And because I let myself have that every day, then I'm never like, oh, I want this so bad. And then when I finally give myself the chance to eat it.
You eat 2 or 3 of them?
Then I could eat 7. So.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's probably my biggest problem is I get my hands on, a medium pizza and I want to eat the whole thing.
Yum.
That's just my biggest issue. So we've talked about how owning a gym is hard.
Hard.
What are the hardest parts to you? What are like the top few things that you would say are, the most difficult parts about owning your own CrossFit gym?
That is a tough question. Tough.
There's so many variables.
There's so many variables. I think that's a very good statement to kind of cover everything. Is there's so many things, and wow. I guess I just never take the time to think about what's so hard about it, even though it's hard.
Well, yeah, because you have the mentality of I have to do what I have to do.
Yeah.
To get it done.
Yeah.
Which is, how I am, and, Hill and a lot of people that we know that are successful. But that's the difference.
Yeah.
It's a mentality that successful people try to get and maintain and have that discipline.
Yeah.
To know that even on the days you don't feel like working out.
Yes.
You still have to take your ass in there and do it.
Yes.
Because if you
still have to move your ass.
You still have to.
Yeah.
If you don't go in there and get the workout done, then you feel like crap, and your body feels more like crap because you didn't actually go work out.
Yeah.
the discipline part is hard. I mean, I can speak from the RTB side. I think a couple of the hardest things are navigating the financial side.
Yeah.
Of,
Tricky.
Okay, you get all the memberships in on the, when it's all said and done, the 6th or 7th, whatever day. And that's got to last you, 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah.
Between paying coaches, paying employees.
Yeah.
And maintaining equipment.
Yeah.
Cleaning, all the stuff.
Yeah.
That's the hardest part. In my opinion, that's the hardest part. And then after that, it's like figuring out what your members want.
Yeah. And then I've seen this happen so many times in the past with CrossFit, not necessarily the bro side of things, but with CrossFit gyms, members will say, oh, I want an extra class provided for Olympic lifting, or I want a yoga class, or I want this equipment, or I want that equipment. And then you're like, okay, you provide that for them and it never gets used.
Yeah.
And so then you've just spent time and resources and money doing something that is not really getting used.
Yeah. No, I would agree. There's a couple pieces of equipment I can think of that we had a handful of people say, oh, we would love this, we would love this, get it there. They use it a couple times.
Yeah.
And then
it's like it loses its luster.
They just don't use it. And I'm just like, you said you really wanted this, and you knew a lot of members that really wanted it, and it would get used a lot, and I hardly ever see it get used. So trying to do that balance is definitely something that's challenging for us. Figuring out what do we need to add and keep people engaged.
Yeah.
What would you give? Is there any advice you'd give to somebody wanting to start their own CrossFit gym? Would you say, you know what, yes, go for it, or, well, yes, go for it, but here's, I caution you on this to start out for sure?
I really feel like our circumstance, our setup is more successful for my CrossFit gym versus a CrossFit gym by itself. I feel like the CrossFit gyms that are doing well and are staying open, they are selling other things, not just CrossFit. They're doing other things besides CrossFit. So for me, God blessed me with you guys and having this partnership with you guys because I have more to offer than just the CrossFit gym. So I think that is what CrossFit gyms need for success, is have something besides CrossFit.
Just CrossFit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think CrossFit by itself is just never going to be able to have that good income, that secure income.
Yeah, I mean, because obviously you're going to lose some members, gain some members. I mean, you have your core group. But it's just interesting to me that, just having a passion for fitness isn't going to make you successful.
No.
In the gym industry, in the CrossFit industry, being passionate about fitness really is probably the smallest part. The only advantage I think that gives is that most people that are passionate about fitness are passionate about being hardworking. So that translates into they'll work the 30 hours in 2 days to cover all the classes if they have to.
Yeah.
But that doesn't transition into financial success necessarily just because you're passionate about fitness. I mean, a big portion of it is sales.
Yeah.
And actually connecting with the members to the point that they want to bring their friends. And I know we talked about that earlier, but I just think that's something I would tell somebody wanting to start a gym, any sort of gym, is just because you're passionate about fitness, that's great.
Yeah.
That should just come with the territory of you want to own a gym.
Yes.
It'd be like saying, I like pizza, so I opened a pizza restaurant.
Yeah.
Well, that's great, but that's not going to make it successful.
Yeah.
Having to juggle all the different hats and selling memberships is what's
Uh-huh.
going to make you successful. I think you could be an average fitness person, but amazing at sales, and you're going to make more money than
Yes.
if we were just great at
1,000%.
fitness. Because
1,000%.
you can get people to pay and get in the door.
Yeah.
So KRRAK CrossFit, how did you come up with that name? What led you to that name? I mean, and was that all 5 years it's been KRRAK?
Yep.
Right? Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
I was trying so hard to get us affiliated, and CrossFit HQ kept saying, no, we can't take that name. No, we can't take that name. They have to make sure no other CrossFit gym has the same name as you. And then every time I would email a new idea of a name, they would send back, well, it's too close to this other name. So it was like to the point I couldn't even have it like close to something else.
Yeah.
So everything that I was coming up with, I was getting a no. And I'm like, I just need affiliated. And so I had the idea of Front Rack CrossFit, and I used all the coaches' initials to spell rack. And when I sent that, and I really liked that one. Mm-hmm. That one was like, oh, this is going to be it. Yeah. And they sent back and said, you can't use misspelled words as other words. And so you can't use that one either. Okay. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm never getting this. And then I just prayed about it, and Rusty, one of my coaches, was like, hey, what about KRRAK, crack? What about that? And so I sent it to CrossFit HQ. I got an email back. I'm pretending it was like that same minute that said, yes, we can do crack. And I was like, of course you can, CrossFit. Of course you can. So.
As opposed to the other 20 names you sent in that were.
Yes.
Yeah. That's funny. I was always wondering how you came up with that as your name. And it makes sense they don't want your name to be close to somebody else's name. But to not misspell words, I mean, I think a lot of businesses do that as a play on words. To get people to.
Yeah.
You mentioned a few times your faith and how foundational that is for you and everything you do.
Game changer.
Because obviously 8 kids.
Yes.
And working, being a mom.
Yeah.
Wife, everything. I mean,
all the
8
things.
Kids, that's a lot. How many grandkids do you have now?
I have 13.
13.
And there's another one on the way. So.
Yeah. Do they all live? No, I know at least one lives in Florida, right?
Yeah, one lives in Florida, and the rest of them live pretty close where I can see them on the regular. So.
What's the age range?
My oldest is 8, and then my youngest is 6 weeks old.
Okay, that's slow for grandkids. And then kid-wise?
Oh, kid-wise. Kid-wise, we have 2 left at home. One graduates this coming weekend, actually, from high school, and then the other one graduates next year. So an 18-year-old and a 17-year-old are our 2 youngest at home right now. So the rest of them are ranging in ages from 30 on down. So
that's crazy. And still manage to worry about like your personal fitness.
Oh yeah.
Which is great because at least 2 of your daughters come in.
Yes.
And it's directly because of you that they come in and do that. Which is awesome.
Yeah, they all grew up in a CrossFit gym, so they've seen it their whole lives. And some of them don't really care about it a whole lot, but they like to work out and do different things. They like to stay active.
How important fitness is.
Yes.
Because of that foundation that you and John laid.
Yeah, they just saw it all their lives.
Yeah, yeah. That's that foundation, and then your faith foundation. If you want to talk about that a little bit.
Oh yeah, yeah. So I grew up in a very strict Christian home, and I didn't appreciate it at the time. I hated it. Mm-hmm. I was a rebellious child, and I didn't get it. I'm like, ugh, my mom is so mean. And I know a lot of other kids think that about their parents a time or two over their life, sure. But I thought my mom was so mean and strict, and she hates me. And I was kind of a brat, so but I've always had a connection with God, and kind of fell in the background for a while, and I still believed in God. I still knew God, but I don't know. It was just like I put God on the back seat of my life for a long time. And my mom was very good about still keeping my kids going to church and things like that. And then I started wanting to go for them. And then I was like, man, I need more of God.
Yeah.
And it was just like a waking moment for me. And I remember praying and saying, God, I know I need more of you. But can you take things slow with me, because I don't know about all this. And it was just like, that was the turning point for me, for sure. And that was like when I actually started walking with Jesus versus just believing in him and knowing he's my Savior. So
that transition from just believing to having a relationship with Jesus is like, I mean, it's just totally different.
Totally different.
It's just a game changer.
Yeah.
In your personal life, your business.
Yeah.
I mean, everything.
I don't know how people own businesses without having a strong faith in God, or without,
especially after COVID.
Yeah.
I mean, that was just like an ultimate test for any.
Ultimate test.
I mean, most businesses, was put to the test through COVID.
Yeah.
And I don't know how, if you did not have that to lean on, you kept your sanity through everything, and then to come out on the other side, because you started this during CrossFit.
Yeah.
You started your CrossFit during COVID.
Yes.
I mean,
unheard of to do that.
Yeah.
It's so crazy, because what led to that is, it's okay if I talk about this for a minute? Yeah. Okay, so I had been coaching CrossFit for so long. I want to say I helped my friend Kelly open her gym. Their official opening date was 1/2 of 2012, because it was like 1/2/1/2, so I'll never forget that. And so then I had been coaching there for her for all those years, and then
was that Decatur?
That one was in Clinton.
Clinton, okay.
Mm-hmm. It's now a Wapella located gym, but the same one. And I had come to a point where I was working, like, I was coaching there. I was working at a physical therapy clinic for a really good friend of mine. I was also working at a grocery store in Clinton. I had all these little jobs kind of scattered, and I just felt like God was telling me to stop. And so I kind of had to stop and just let all those things go. And I was still working out. I was still continuing with my fitness. And it was like only a month later, it happened very fast. I was visiting my friend at CrossFit Enhance, which used to be a hospital-owned gym in Decatur. Mm-hmm. And I was visiting her there, and they had lost their coordinator. He had left. And they're like, Robin, we need somebody to run the CrossFit gym here. You should apply for the job. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And it just, like, it blew my mind, because God had set me up for that.
Right. If you hadn't stopped the other stuff, you wouldn't have been in that position.
Yeah, never. It never would have happened. And there were some wonderful people there. They took me in the hallway. I said, yeah, I think I am interested in applying for this job. And they prayed over me right then. This part chokes me up so much every time I talk about it. Ooh. But they said, if this job is right for these people and right for you, nothing will stop God's will from happening. So it was a beautiful moment. I'll never forget it. And then I continued to pray at home, even as I was applying for this job. And applying for a job with the hospital was a whole process. Like, I think I had 3 interviews or something like that. And I remember just praying every day, God, if this isn't what you want for me, or if this is too much for me, please protect me from it. I don't want it if it's not what you want for me. But if this is what you want for me, and this is what you want for the people in this gym, And so that was just my prayer constantly. And so whenever I got the job, I was like, okay, I know this is...
Yeah, you knew it was right.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I could confidently take that job and go. And so then it was like I started and worked there a month before we were shut down for COVID. And so it was like, okay, God, like, I know you wanted me here. I know this is the path that you laid out for me so clearly.
Right.
Like, we're closed now.
Yeah.
Now what? And so then they redeployed me, and I was doing different jobs over at the hospital, all kinds of different things. And then we got to open back up with outdoor fitness. Mm-hmm. So at that point, the coaches came to me and said, okay, Robin, it's your time to start programming. Because the programming is something that sets me apart from the other CrossFit gyms like we've talked about. And so at that point, whenever that job was on my plate of programming we had 300 members at the time.
Wow.
And so I was like overwhelmed, like, okay, I have to make 300 people happy.
Right. Yeah, okay, good luck.
Yeah. And so at that point, I was like, okay, I know this is impossible. Mm-hmm. Impossible. You can't.
No.
Nobody can. And so I just started praying again then, God, like, I cannot do this without you. Please help me do what's right for this gym, what's right for these people. And every week when I would program, I would say, okay, God, here I am again. I got to do this programming. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's scary. And I can't do it on my own.
Yeah.
And that has been the one thing that's made me stand out from everyone else. And I give all the credit to God for that.
That's amazing. I mean, that's hard. It's hard to not only pray for that help I have found, over the years, but then to be humble enough to actually like give the credit to God. Like it took me many years of walking the path and like wrestling with Jesus and figuring out
so much wrestling happens.
But at the end of the day, I believe we're supposed to be good stewards with the resources, the talents, the blessings we're given.
Yeah.
So we can then go out and further his kingdom. In your way, it's through CrossFit. I mean, it is through helping people be healthier. Which is just inspirational, for Hill and I, but like for your members too.
Yeah.
To be a part of that, and we're truly blessed to get to see that on a daily basis.
Oh, thank you.
And whatnot. So, what?
I used to have it backwards.
Yeah.
I used to, when I first started coaching CrossFit, I was like,
yeah,
I am so cool.
Yeah.
I coach CrossFit.
Yeah.
And it was in the beginning of CrossFit, so like I'm like, wow, and then God gave me some really good talents and some good genetics for some strength and natural abilities. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, wow, I'm kind of good at this.
Oh, you can definitely tell it's your wheelhouse. I mean, you were put on this earth to do fitness and to help people in fitness, for sure.
Oh, I just had it so backwards. I was making it all about me. Mm-hmm. The minute I was like, God, this is you. Yeah. I can't do any of this. I can't please these people. I can't do any of this. This is 100% you, God.
Yeah, and it's hard to take that step and be that humble. And to truly be, let it all go. But then, so you were programming and everything. You were doing outdoor fitness.
Yep.
And then, how long did that last? Because then,
we got shut down again.
Right.
So one of our members ended up testing positive for COVID, and because again we're hospital owned, they had to report it, and there was this whole process we had to go through. I mean, we had to have people come in and fog the gym to sanitize it because one of our members had a positive COVID test, and so. We shut down again. We got to reopen after that. And then another shutdown happened altogether. And that shutdown, I just knew. I knew something was going to happen. Like, I could tell when my boss would come by and talk to me, like, we just kept losing hope every day that we didn't get to open back up. Like, is this ever going to happen? Mm-hmm. And then we kind of got like a little letter that was saying, okay, we're going to be able to open back up. And I honestly don't know what happened. I really don't. I remember my boss walking in one day, and it looked like he had the weight of the world on his shoulders. And I knew then, without him telling me, I knew what was going on. And he said, hey, the hospital is permanently shutting us down. And we have 1 hour to tell the coaches before they post something about it. So,
isn't it crazy that was 5 years ago?
Yeah.
I mean, to think about COVID was only 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And, I'm not going to get political right now. Different day, different time. But the fact that we even allowed something like fitness to be closed down during COVID still blows my mind.
Yes.
To this day. But we'll not dive too into political.
Oh, I could go on for hours about that.
Yeah.
We need to have another podcast
Yeah,
for
that'll have to be a different conversation for a different day.
Yeah.
So then, shut down.
And my boss looked so upset, but in my mind, I'm like, this is his job too. Mm-hmm. He's the provider for his family, like the sole provider. So then my focus was on him. He was so worried about me breaking my heart. And then I was like, oh, wait a minute. I'm not the breadwinner of my family. I'm going to be okay. Mm-hmm. Like, this was my dream job. I loved it. I was really learning how to run a gym there. Like, I learned so much. And then also the programming I was really finding that groove with the programming there. And so then whenever, again, I was like, back to God, like, okay, God, I know you had this plan for me here. I know you did. Mm-hmm. So now what? And it was like that weekend, it was my birthday actually, when John called me and said, hey, do you want a place to do CrossFit? Like, come on over. And I was like, huh. My husband immediately said, no. And the more I thought about it, and I talked with my coach Rusty about it, and we talked about all okay, what are the pluses of doing this? What are the downfalls of doing this? And I just decided to go for it.
So obviously the memorial thing was to set you up to actually learn more about the business side. The programming and business side that you didn't have the experience in before.
Yeah.
So that way you were prepared for what you're supposed to be doing, which is now having your own and taking care of your own members.
Yeah.
So I mean it's awesome to hear the full circle.
It is.
And it's crazy when you think about, once you get to the point where you can look back and you see the path, even though you didn't, there were times you probably didn't agree with it.
Yeah.
Along the way.
Yeah. Like what? Yeah, and why?
Yeah.
And
why did you have me do this then? Yeah. God, if I'm going to end up doing this. But then you end up doing the thing that he really wanted you to do. And you're like, oh, okay.
And that's what's made it like so easy for me to keep putting one foot in front of the other when I don't understand now, like certain months maybe look worse than others with the income or whatever. And I'm like, okay, God, I know this is where you want me.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
So I can keep going because no matter what the finances have looked like each month, I always have enough because he's that good.
Yeah.
I've never had a problem. So whether I have a good month and I have extra or whether I have just an okay month, I still have more than enough.
Yeah. No, that's exactly the mentality that I try to have and encourage others to have. He'll provide.
Yeah.
Don't think you're just doing this all yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, because at the end of the day, that's not the case.
Yeah.
And it's hard. It's hard to get there. It's not easy. Everybody has to go through their own journey.
Yeah, everybody does. And everybody's looks so different.
Yeah.
And there's like a statement, and it's directed towards marriage is where I found it from, but you can direct it towards lots of other things besides marriage. If you're busy looking at what you don't have instead of what you do have, that's when you're going to run into problems.
Yeah.
And so like, if I catch myself, I mean, I'm still human. If I catch myself saying, oh, I don't have whatever, I don't have some big income, I don't have whatever, then I'm like, wait a minute, look what I have.
Right. Just
Wow.
having a heart of gratitude.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Okay, I know what we're doing right now, and obviously a lot of people that'll end up listening to this know that we're building a gym in
Uh-huh.
Forsyth.
uh-huh.
We're going to be moving and all that stuff sometime this year. What are you looking forward to, like just being in a different space? Is it just the fact we're going to be in a new facility? Is it what excites you, I guess, the most about the fact that we're going to be moving, taking the gym to Forsyth? Do you think all your members are going to be on board with that move? Is that going to be a challenge?
For the most part, I think the big percentage of my members are going to follow when we move. Some of them do. I have a big core group of them that do live in Mount Zion, but they've already talked about, well, we're going to take the back way, and, it's not going to stop us. And also, previous experience of the CrossFit gym in Clinton, moving from Clinton out to Wapella, and it made everybody's drive further. They ended up with more members than they had before.
Mm-hmm.
So I've seen that move happen. Another piece to everything in my path has just made me feel secure no matter what we're doing.
Yeah. I'm not looking forward to moving all the equipment, though.
Oh,
I'll tell you that much.
I have moved CrossFit gyms. Let me think here. I think I've moved CrossFit gyms 4 times, 5 times maybe. And I'm like, wow, we get to do that again.
Yeah. One more time.
One more time.
Just one more time.
Just one more time.
Just one more time, unless it's just blowing up out there and we're just moving it around.
Yeah.
Because we have to add on.
Yeah.
That's the hope. That covers everything I wanted to talk about with you and hopefully get out to everybody and just learn more about you and, come check out KRRAK CrossFit.
Yes.
Specialized programming.
Yes.
Even the nutrition side.
Yeah.
You do it all.
All of it.
And, thanks a lot for your time.
Thank
I really
you, Matt.
appreciate it, Robin.
Thank you.
Yeah.